Welcome to Your Life Podcast, the place where life becomes that little bit simpler. Thank you for joining me on the Your Life Podcast. I'm Angela Lockwood, and in this episode I'm interviewed by Luke and Susie of The Luke and Susie Show. Now, we talk about the modern day reality of how it can always feel like we've got too many things to do, too many places to be, and way too much on our to-do list. So it makes us feel like we're constantly running just to try to keep up with the basics in the day. So we talk a little bit about, well, what can we do when we're starting to feel like we are in this almost like running like on a hamster wheel? What can be some of the signs and the symptoms that our body is telling us that we need to slow down? How do we press the pause and then still keep up with everything we need to do? It's one that I'm sure we can all relate to, this episode. So please take a listen and enjoy.
Faith, Family, Culture. It's Luke and Susie with you, and we are living in a world where it is so easy to just be absolutely inundated between the demands of your family, the demands of work, places you want to volunteer for and things you want to be involved with, just being absolutely inundated and overwhelmed constantly. But how do you actually find meaning in the midst of that when every time you're doing something, you're thinking about the next thing you have to do?
Exactly right. And what a strange word, inundated. It's just wrapping my head around inundated. It's just this world of stress and overwhelm that we live in. We're going to explore what that looks like, but hopefully how to avoid it.
Hopefully. That'd be nice.
He has a question mark tone in his voice. Is it possible? More on this next. Well, I'm inundated with doubts that we can deal with the world of inundation, Susie.
Yes.
The stress where everything is coming at us 1,000 miles an hour. The author of the book, Switch Off, Angela Lockwood, is with us. Angela, how inundated are our lives actually? Because it seems to feel like it's more now than ever before.
We are totally inundated, and I don't like that we're saying inundated because I always find this is a really hard word to say. So can I talk about being overwhelmed or overstimulated or overconnected?
So it sounds like you're overwhelmed by the concept of having to say inundated a lot.
But here's the thing that gets me about it is that we can feel overwhelmed and feel like the problem with being overwhelmed is that we just don't feel like we're doing anything with meaning or purpose. So then we add more to our plate that we think is going to bring meaning and purpose, but then we can't actually find the meaning and purpose in those things because we're just in overwhelm all of the time.
It's overwhelming even just to talk about it, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, how are we going to do this? You know, remember we used to talk always about the hamster wheel? There was a lot of imagery around, a lot of memes around, you know, the little hamster just running on the wheel and we can never get off. Well, what's happened, I see now, is that people are on those hamster wheels, but what's happening is they're not being left alone. We're just getting stuff thrown at us to try to, try to dodge while we're actually running on it. And so what's happening is we're still as busy as ever, but we're getting distracted by lots of different things that are being either thrown our way externally. So, you know, people at work or family, people saying, now I want you to do this, this and this. But what we're also doing is we're picking those up and holding on to them as well. So we're picking up these things that are being thrown at us and going, oh, I have to do that. And what we're doing is we're trying to hold on to all of these things while we're running on the hamster wheel. And look, two things are going to have to happen in this scenario. Either you've got to get rid of things that you're trying to hold on to free up some space, or you've got to just jump off that hamster wheel and let that keep going and find a different way to keep on top of these things. And unfortunately, what we're trying to do is neither. We're just trying to hold on to everything while we're still running. And that's where the feeling of being burnt out or the feeling of being overwhelmed, this overstimulation, is we're trying to just run through our day. And when you're trying to hold on to things, it's like when you're trying not to fall off a balance beam. That's all you're thinking about. Yeah. You're not thinking about meaning behind it. You're not looking at all these other fantastic opportunities that are around because you're just trying not to fall off.
Well, what a picture she paints, Suze. We're on a hamster wheel trying to hold on to things while people are throwing stuff at us. Just very exciting life, very exciting. How to actually navigate that. It's one thing to say, to put a few things down and to jump off the wheel. It's another thing to do it. How do we practically exercise that? Next. Luke and Susie with Faith, Family, Culture. Our guest right now, Angela Lockwood, the author of Switch Off, and she's just painted the picture of running on a hamster wheel while people are throwing things at us
and
we're
holding
trying
on
to catch them
everything.
and hold on to everything that's there, which sounds exhausting just as a picture, and it's how most of us can feel at times. But Angela, you said there's two things: put some things down or jump off the wheel altogether, which is easy to say, but we don't get to just jump off our life. How do we do this?
That's right. So it's definitely not an option unless you're somebody who needs to go on a holiday. And that's those moments where people go, I just need to stop. Like that feeling of overwhelm has gotten way too far that they can't even see how to get rid of things. They just have to go on a holiday.
Yeah.
So this is where you see a lot of decisions are made in reaction mode. So people become very reactive. They make a decision because they can't see any other option.
Yeah.
So what I want to encourage people to do is to try to throw some of those things back. So try to say no, deflect a few things that are being thrown our way. And I know we're talking about meaning in this segment. How do we find and stay connected to meaning when we've got so many things happening in our life? I'm going to talk about meaning in a physical sense really quickly. When you are feeling overwhelmed and you know that things are getting to the point where you're just going to throw your hands up and go, I've had enough, you will feel it physiologically. So you will feel it in your breathing. So what you'll do is you'll feel this sense of overwhelm up high in your chest, in your throat, and it will come up into your head. And it's this sort of tightness in the chest and constriction in your breathing that is a really strong indicator to people. If you are feeling that, it's time for you to slow down and take some of those things off your plate. That's the number one indicator, is in your breathing. If it's tightness in the chest, headaches, tightness in your throat, it's time there are things, the next step is going to be pretty much breakdown and burnout, because once you stop breathing and you stop getting connected into your breath, then pretty much you're useless to anybody. So that's the first thing for people to recognise. What do you do when you do that? Well, you got to start to look and go, what are the things, the minutiae? What are the little things that I'm wasting time on that I could deflect to other people, I could just say no to, or they're not important anyway? Those things sometimes, I reckon, Luke, you would have done this a few times in your past, where you just sit, you procrastinate for a little while, and it ends up getting done by someone else anyway.
Yeah. No.
What we try to do is we try to hold on to these things that are getting thrown our way, as I said, but what we're doing is by trying to hold on to everything, we can't do anything particularly well. So some of it you can just let slide, someone else will do it, or it wasn't important in the first place. So basically the two things that people really need to look at is to find meaning when we're so overwhelmed, is to be aware of how your body is feeling in that moment. So if you are feeling that tension and the stress, that's a really strong indicator to say it's time to stop and just hit the pause button. The second thing, once you do that, is then to go, what is the things in my life that I can minimise? Where is the detail that I can get rid of a little bit? I can put it on the side burner. It's not a high priority right now. And what you'll do is you'll start to create a little bit of space in your life.
Beautiful. Oh, you're so good, Angela.
A little offensive, but good.
Luke, I'm giving you a cuddle from a distance. I say it with love, but look, it's not just you. I could have said Susie too, but it's girl code.
That's right.
But if you'd said it about Susie, there wouldn't have been any prolonged issues from the look that I got for yes, Luke, with the washing and the cleaning. And how many times do you put it off so that somebody else has to do it, like me? That's the look I got. So thanks, Angela. We'll deal with this once we turn the mics off. Angela Lockwood, the author of Switch Off, and helping us deal with the overwhelm of the inundation of life. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. To find more ways to slow down and simplify your life, follow the Your Life podcast on Spotify and iTunes. And let's connect on LinkedIn and Instagram. Just look for Angela Lockwood. Don't forget, it's your life. You choose how to live it.